Welcome back, everyone. It is Sunday sit-down time. We're on location and with a very special guest, Dennis Gates. Thank you for joining us tonight. Third season, does it feel kind of surreal to already be in your third season here in Columbia?
Not at all. But you look back and you say, where did the time go? I think when you look at special places and when you're able to take on the responsibilities that I have as a head coach, it kind of goes fast, but when you're in the moment, it goes a little bit slow. So, how
has this job maybe kind of changed and molded since you first took it 3 years ago, now entering your third season here?
I think when you look at like the crowd support, right, you start developing faces with names, and you're getting more personal in your relationships in the community. That is the thing that I think stands out the most. It's a humanization part that takes place with a job that's this responsible, but also it lets you know how special the city of Como is because we have the tradition that never graduates, right? The tradition is in our fans, their support, and they're generational. They've come since they were children with their grandparents or even their parents.
Obviously such a special culture here. When you're bringing players in from the transfer portal, how much does that play into bringing them here and them seeing that culture?
That's a good question, because every kid is shocked and surprised how open the arms of our fans in our community are when it comes down to them being in grocery stores or doing normal everyday activities like going to the farmer's market, right? Those things our young people really look forward to. And, it's like open arms, and I truly believe it's one of the biggest things that separates us from a lot of institutions being here in Como.
Well, I want to ask you about the offseason. Obviously some new additions. You're going to see some familiar faces as well. How do you feel about how the offseason went for you guys?
I'm excited about our offseason. I thought our guys put in a lot of work. The first things we do, we concentrate on team building with our sports psychologist, Dr. Joe Carr, and we move and transition into basketball, into strength and conditioning. And we try to attack the weaknesses of our players and try to make sure that we cover certain entry-level things, meaning what is our culture? Do they know the small things that can take us through whatever storm there is, but ultimately what connects us with each other is what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Obviously a lot of people excited about the addition of bringing on Mark Mitchell. Yes. I got to talk to him and Tomar in the offseason here. Dudes. How much of a role did Tomar play? Obviously they've known each other since they were kids. How cool is it going to be to see that connection?
So I had no clue of that because I didn't recruit Tomar Bates in high school. I didn't recruit him in high school. I recruited him out of the portal. I didn't realize the AAU part where they were connected with each other for so long, and once it took place, I think Tomar Bates was the one that brought it home. Tomar Bates was able to convince his childhood friend that this is a special place, but also when you look at Tomar's individual success last season, he told and was able to share those moments with his former teammate and now current teammate in terms of what it was that we were doing behind the scenes, player development wise, that saw the improvements in his numbers, in his stats that he was able to see.
Well, Mark was telling me the biggest thing, a reason why he came here, wants to get back to being himself. What stands out about Mark Mitchell?
Yeah, I think what stands out is that Mark Mitchell is a multifaceted individual athlete. He plays the game the right way, very unselfish, very versatile. When you look at Kobe Brown's success, you have to look at the capabilities and the versatility of Mark Mitchell. And I truly believe they're two different players, but also we can see an improvement over this time frame the same way, because we will use him in different ways throughout the game, throughout the course of the season. And tremendous defender, can block shots, can really finish. He's an ambidextrous player. He can finish with both hands. But he's a very good player, and I think he's ultimately going to be an asset to us long term.
I want to touch on the other additions too. Obviously, Tony Perkins, Jacob Cruz, a slew of other guys. What do you like about what you were able to bring on to this team?
Well, you look at Jacob Cruz. Jacob Cruz has arguably been our best shot maker this entire summer. His size, meaning his athleticism, his ability to knock down shots. He averaged 19 points, 8 and 9 rebounds a game at UT Martin. You look at Marquez Warwick, who is college basketball's returning active leading scorer. That is a tough accomplishment to have, but he is that in college basketball. You look at Josh Gray with his size, but also his experience in the SEC. And Tony Perkins has been an all Big Ten, second team, all conference guard, and has been playing high level basketball. So those guys give us a mix of versatility, but also a seasoned veterans that we can mesh with our freshmen and also our returning core guys.
From a leadership perspective, is there anyone specifically you've been impressed with, anyone you want to see step up this season?
Well, I'll tell you this, our leaders have been Jeremy Sanchez, one of my former players at Cleveland State by way of St. Leo, but also Caleb Grill. Those two have been our leaders. We have guys emerging in that area. Aiden Shaw has emerged in that area. Mark Mitchell has emerged in that area. Marquez Warwick has emerged in that area. But, you know, you got to look at leadership when you look at point guard spots. So I expect Tony Perkins, Ant Robinson, Marquez Warwick, and also T.O. Barrett, those guys who are ball handling guys, to be able to step up and lead.
Losing a guy obviously like Sean East, so excited to see him go to the next level, but obviously just his ability to create shots and create shots for others. You know, who do you expect to kind of maybe see step up into that role? Well,
Sean East had a tremendous career here, and ultimately he'll have a great pro career, obviously signing a contract with the Lakers. And my hat's off to what he's been able to provide, and he loves this place like home. He's already been back several times. I just think there's multiple guys that can step up, and by committee we'll be able to fill the void. I think the identity of our team is forged as we continue to get ready week by week, but we're 3 weeks in. This is our third week of full-time basketball, full-time practice, and our guys, our staff has done a tremendous job pushing the unit, but it's going to come down to the evolution of our team in a positive way, and the growth takes place week by week.
Well, I feel like when I was talking to players when I was at practice this summer, physicality was really the biggest thing that came up. You know, that's the big thing they were hammering home. What can fans expect from a physicality perspective?
Well, we got to do certain things. We got to be able to defend at a high level. We got to be able to get to that free throw line. And, you know, in the SEC, you know, it's a very physical conference. So you saw that in the NCAA tournament when we, as a conference, averaged 19.5 fouls or 20 fouls per game, and that kind of hurt us. So we got to do a better job, you know, playing physical but not fouling. The other part of it is taking care of the basketball, having a positive assist to turnover ratio, and I truly believe our shooting. The shooting part kind of is one thing that separates you, and we have to rebound. We have to be able to rebound the basketball and create opportunities.
You know, the mindset of this team last year was so impressive, even when you went on that conference stretch. You know, as a coach, you know, what can you learn from a stretch like that to end the season? What did you learn about maybe this team as well?
Well, you learn that you're doing things the right way. You're building a structure and the culture the right way. Our team never quit. Our team never gave up. And that momentum is the mentality that you need to win a championship. Now, you cannot predict the other things that happens, whether it's an injury or not. You can't predict your top rotation missing over 111 games over the course of a season. You cannot predict those things, but what I'm proud about is our fans. Our fans showed up every single outing and created an unbelievable atmosphere, and we just didn't have enough firepower to close out the close games that we closed out the year before. And I just think this season is going to be a good season as it relates to our conference, the representation, the new additions of Texas, Oklahoma, but also being able to close out some close games. So there's going to be some very close games in this conference. We're going to need our fans to help us over the hump.
You went right into it. It was perfect. I was going to ask you about this schedule. What do you like about this conference schedule? Obviously getting better with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma.
The conference schedule is a buzzsaw. I think when you look at the additions, we can possibly have 8 to 10 teams in the NCAA tournament, and there's gonna be an influx of performances, but it's a long season, and you have to get to the end. You have to be able to stay healthy. You have to be able to continue to get better through your practices, through your games, and that's where you pick up game management. That's where your team identity is forged in those moments. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about where we are. You have some great coaches, several Hall of Fame coaches, several Final Four coaches, and an unbelievable core of young coaches in their first, second, third years that have taken over programs like myself, and I'm excited about it.
Obviously, the clock is getting pretty close here.
Ticking.
It's ticking. Is this kind of when things get a little antsy, like you're excited for the season to start?
Look,
here?
I'm so excited. Sometimes it's almost feels like Christmas Eve, right? And you can't wait for practice the next day. You can't wait for the next day, but you still have to stay in the moment, stay where your 2 feet are, 10 toes down, because these moments are precious and your team needs development, it needs the identity, it needs the team building. So you can't move too fast, but it's upon us. We'll have an exhibition game that I'm excited about, and it'll be awesome. And, you know, our schedule, you know, we open up at Memphis and we come back home on that Friday night right before a football game and face a tough opponent in Howard University who's gone to the NCAA tournament the last 2 seasons.
Well, you know, obviously with the football team, the momentum they've had and really the momentum of Mizzou Athletics, how exciting is it to kind of be a part of that at this time where it feels like it's growing so much?
Well, it speaks for our community. Our community is very supportive in what our young people are doing. It is a reflection in our sort of our student attendance. It's a reflection in our application increase, meaning for our future students. We just ask that our fans just continue to sacrifice, and I know it's not easy, but our fans continue to sacrifice what they do with their time, coming midweek, coming on football Saturdays. These are the events that makes it special, that our recruits get to see, and they want to be a part of it. And it's the one thing, the glue that held our recruiting class together, you know, because they saw how exciting these fans are and how supportive they are.
Well, I'm excited for basketball season. I appreciate you making some time for us, Dennis.
Hey, thank you. MIZ.
All right, for the rest of you guys, we'll be right back after the break.